All right. Hi, everybody. How are you today? If you guys are joining me live, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And just say hi in the comments in the chat for me. And if you're watching the replay, just put hashtag replay in the comments. All right, you guys. So today I'm talking about the difference between managing type 2 diabetes and healing it, because there's a pretty big difference between the two objectives. And so if you get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, insulin resistance, or anything like that, you you want to know your objective, right? Because if you know your objective, then you can figure out what to do about it. So you want to figure out, if you get diagnosed with one of these issues, you want to figure out, do I want to manage it or do I want to heal it? Because your treatment plan is going to be very different. Depending on which one that you decide that you want to do. And that's another thing, that is really not discussed. And that's why I really wanted to do this video. I wanted to talk about this, and I've talked about it before, but I like to bring it up every now and then, because I think so many people that get diagnosed with these blood sugar issues, they don't realize they have a choice. They just pretty much do what they're told. And I want you to know that you do have a choice. You have a choice on whether you want to manage the condition or heal the condition. And your doctor may not tell you that, depending on how your doctor, approaches it. And so, I like to inform people, because I didn't know either, and I had to learn for myself. I had to do my own research. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And before we get started, I'd like you guys, if you want to, just guess what the difference between these two are. What do you think the big difference is between managing diabetes and healing diabetes or reversing diabetes? Just put what you think in the chat. All right, so first I want to briefly explain type 2 diabetes, and then we'll get into the differences between managing it and healing it. So type 2 diabetes affects how the body metabolizes glucose, right? And when your body can't produce enough of the hormone insulin, or it becomes resistant to insulin, then you develop insulin resistance. And because your cells can't get the insulin they need, if you have insulin resistance, then glucose builds up in the blood. Sugar builds up in the blood, right? And this causes high blood sugar. And if it's high long enough, if you have a chronic high blood sugar, then that eventually leads to type 2 diabetes. So that is basically what type 2 diabetes is and how you get it. That is how it is formed, right? Developed. And it can take years for type 2 diabetes to actually show up on a test, right? But you may have signs of it, early signs of it, that if you know the signs, then you can go ahead and start, taking steps to prevent it, right? To prevent yourself from developing full-on insulin resistance or full-on type 2 diabetes. And that's important. You need to know the signs so you can prevent it. And some of the common signs, the early signs, are like being hungry or thirsty all the time. Sometimes you just have one of those, and sometimes people have both. And then fatigue, numbness or tingling in your hands and feet. So if they go numb, or you kind of have issues with like tingling in your hands or feet, that is a sign that your blood sugar might be getting too high. And also frequent urination. So, and this can be common if you're thirsty a lot. Like if you feel like you have to drink all the time, and you have, you can never quench your thirst. Well, obviously, if you're drinking a lot of water or, liquids, then you're going to be urinating a lot. And especially if, you're drinking liquids that have added sugar in it, you're really going to be urinating a lot, because your body is going to be trying to get that sugar out of you, right? Out of your system. And so that is pretty much like type 2 diabetes, what to look out for, the signs, the common signs, the early signs. And, the medical community is really split on whether you can reverse type 2 diabetes once you have it. So some providers and doctors believe that you can, and some believe that you can't. Like you're always going to have it no matter what. You just have to do your best to manage it. So it's really just, we're really divided in the medical community on this. But I believe you can reverse it. I believe you can heal it. And, depending on it can come back if you stop doing the healthy habits and things like that. If you start going back to your old ways, of course, it'll come back just like anything. But I believe it is reversible and it's preventable. And no matter what your health history, it's preventable. Whether everybody in your family has type 2 diabetes or not, it doesn't mean that you are destined to have it, as long as you have a lifestyle that supports, a healthy lifestyle that supports you not getting it. So, hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully that helps you understand it a little better. So let's talk about first, let's talk about the way that the doctors that, tell you to manage it. Like let's talk about managing it first, like what that involves. So a lot of doctors believe that you just have to do your best to manage type 2 diabetes. And they usually use a combination of medications and lifestyle changes, right? If you've ever been diagnosed with any of these blood sugar issues, they've probably put you on some kind of medicine, and also told you to, do some lifestyle changes. And so once you're diagnosed, they'll tell you to modify your diet, usually, hopefully, and advise you to get more exercise. And they'll also probably start you on a medication like metformin. So metformin really proves to be effective in helping you lower blood sugar. It really is an effective medication. So, and it's pretty safe. It does have some side effects, but it is pretty safe overall. So your provider should also send you in a prescription for a blood glucose monitor. If you are having any kind of blood sugar issues, insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, your provider should send you in a prescription for a blood glucose monitor and all the things that you need to test your blood sugar. So, so they should do that. And So what they'll want you to do once you get your blood sugar monitor, they will want you to test your blood sugar before and after meals. And this is normal. This is you should be doing this at least for a little bit, whether you want to manage it or try to heal it. So, because you need to know where it's at, you need to know how the food that you're eating, the food that you've been eating, you need to know how it's affecting your blood sugar. And this is going to help you figure out how much to eat, what to eat, all the things. And so you're going to do that. And then so if your goal is to manage type 2 diabetes, then your blood sugar ranges will be significantly different than if you want to try to reverse the condition. So if you're going the route of taking medication and trying to change lifestyle things, your doctor is going to tell you they'll probably give you some kind of brochure or paper that tells you, okay, this is what your goals for blood sugar are going to be. And this is going to be very different numbers than trying to reverse it, right? So if your goal is to manage the diabetes, your doctor's going to give you ranges like before a meal, your blood sugar needs to be 80 to 130 milligrams per deciliter. That's what they want your blood sugar to be before a meal, before you eat, like fasting. And then 2 hours after your meal, it should be less than 180 milligrams per deciliter. That's what if you're managing your condition, your diabetes, then they want your blood sugar to 2 hours after you eat that meal, they want it to be less than 180 milligrams per deciliter. Now, letting your blood sugar get this high on a daily basis, and even like, each meal, that is going to give you a roller coaster blood sugar. Okay. This is the facts. It's going to give you, if your blood sugar goes from 80 or 100 before you eat, and then it goes to 180 or 170 every day, 1 to 3 times a day, depending on how much you eat, how many times you eat, you are going to get a roller coaster blood sugar. So your blood sugar is going to be like this. And that is going to keep your A1C higher. Your A1C, the test you get when you go to the doctor, it's an average blood sugar over a 3-month period, right? That's going to give you a roller coaster blood sugar, and then when you go back to the doctor to get your A1C tested, you're going to have higher, not higher necessarily. It may go down because you're watching your blood sugar, but it's not ever going to get low enough for you to be at that normal range again. You're always going to be in a diabetic range. Does that make sense, you guys? Let me know. So that is what those blood sugar goals, what they want you to aim for, that is what that is going to cause when you go to the doctor. It's never going to be in a normal range. It's always going to be higher than that. Even usually with medication and everything. And this, and the A1C is what your doctor is going to test when you go for your checkups, right? That's what they're going to test you. And if your A1C continues to be high, then, or it keeps climbing higher each time you go, if it's still in a diabetic range, if it's in a too high of a range, then your doctor is going to want to increase your medication. They're going to want to increase the dose or put you on something else and see if that works. And then if it stays high, if it keeps staying high and the medication doesn't seem to be getting your blood sugar at least to some sort of a lower range or a normal range, then you'll eventually have to go on, they'll eventually put you on insulin because they're going to see, okay, well, the medication's not working, so now they're going to be an insulin dependent type 2 diabetic. And you don't want that. You want to avoid that at all costs, because that it's not healthy. It's really not healthy. You want your body to be able to make its own insulin. But, the problem with type 2 diabetes is that your body's having to try to make so much of it and use so much of it because you've got so much sugar in your blood. And it's just, it malfunctions eventually because you're just working it too hard. And that's why you get insulin resistance. And so if you can reverse the condition and make it to where your body doesn't have to use so much insulin, then it's going to help. It's going to help a lot more. So anyway, that is if you want to manage type 2 diabetes, right? If your goal is to manage it, that is kind of the process that you go through. So now that we've talked about managing diabetes, let's go over how you can heal diabetes, because I'm sure you guys are curious. I'm sure you want to know, how to do this. So if you have type 2 diabetes, then you may have never been told that it's possible to reverse your condition, right? Let me know in the comments if you've been told that you can heal your diabetes or reverse it or get your blood sugar back to normal. If you've ever been told any of those things by your doctor or by the medical community, let me know. I would love to know this. And so this is because the reason you may have never been told that this is a thing is because doctors are not taught this in medical school. They are really medicine focused, most of them, unless you go another route. So they learn about the biology of the human body and about medicine and all that, right? And their focus is to figure out what medicines help what conditions, certain conditions, right? So that is where their brain goes. That's how they fix things. And there's nothing wrong with that. We need that, right? There's life-saving medications out there and procedures and things that we definitely need. But my biggest thing is just, I want you guys to be informed that you have a choice. That's what I want more doctors to inform their patients of, that you have a choice, right? That you can heal or you can manage. And those are two very different things. So it's nothing against the doctors. This is just what they're taught. They're taught medicine, right? They aren't taught about nutrition, really. I mean, maybe recently they are. Maybe they're trying to do better with that. But usually most doctors are not taught a lot about nutrition and healing with nutrition. But there are some doctors that do believe that type 2 diabetes can be healed. So these doctors are usually called functional medicine doctors. So let me know if you've ever heard of this kind of doctor, or if you've ever used this kind of doctor, a functional medicine doctor. These doctors focus on finding the root cause of chronic illnesses like type 2 diabetes. And, there's also nutritionists like me that's what we do. We focus on finding the root cause of your issue and healing that. So we work holistically, which means we spend time learning about your lifestyle, your medical history, your family history, but we spend a lot more time focused on your history and your habits and your lifestyle and things that may be causing your issue in your lifestyle, right? So we're very detailed, and we take a lot of time, a lot more time than like a regular medical doctor would take, because they only have 10 or 15 minutes with you. So we take a lot more time than that, and we get all the information that we need. Uh, and then this helps us get to the root cause of your health issue, and find a personalized solution for you. So we lay out a personalized plan, not a one size fits all, like, oh, okay, you're a diabetic, you get this medication, and you eat like this and you exercise like this. No. um, Holistic doctors and nutritionists, we personalize the solution for you, because your root cause may be very different than the next person's root cause, right? The way you got type 2 diabetes might be very different than the person we see before you or after you. So we personalize a solution for you once we figure out what is really causing your diabetes. Um, so, uh, you know, the holistic practitioners focus on healing or reversing your condition. That is what we focus on. We don't focus on management. We focus on getting to that root cause and healing it. So you don't have to take medicine. So you don't have to deal with it anymore. You just heal it, and you're good. As long as you keep practicing the lifestyle, right? Um, so we focus more on lifestyle habits, and some doctors and nutritionists may use herbs and supplements for a short period of time, but it's never like, hey, you have to take this for the rest of your life, like medications. Um, they may use a supplement or an herb that they know will help whatever your root cause is, right? But it's never for a long period of time. It's for a few months, right? To just get you out of that. Whatever you're in, if you're in pain, or if you're having super high blood sugar, or whatever it is, they don't want you to keep suffering. So they get that, they may use something like that for a short period of time. And then while you're working on lifestyle, while we're working on figuring out the root cause, because it does take some trial and error this way. And so, yeah, just because it's so different, because healing type 2 diabetes is so different than managing it, your goals for blood sugar are going to be different as well. They're going to be different. You're going to have different goals for your blood sugar than someone who wants to manage it. So when you're wanting to heal your diabetes, you will want your blood sugar to be under 100 milligrams per deciliter before meals. That is our goal. You want it to be under 100, and that's going to be a healthy blood sugar before you eat. So, and then you don't want to go over 130 milligrams per deciliter after eating. So before you eat, it needs to be less than 100, and after you eat, it needs to be less than 130 milligrams per deciliter. And then it should go back to under 100 milligrams per deciliter between meals, like when you're not eating, when you're fasting or whatever, it needs to go back to under 100. And this is for healing it. This is going to heal your diabetes. So staying in that range, most of the time, these blood sugar ranges will lower your A1C. It's guaranteed it will lower your A1C. And so if you can get your A1C below 5.7%, this is considered normal. So if you can, and you use your blood sugar monitor, You use your blood glucose monitor to test your blood sugar, and you figure out how much you need to eat, how many carbs, how much protein, how much of, like, how big your meals should be and all that stuff. This is going to take at least a few weeks, right, of doing this after every meal or at every meal, before and after meals, for you to figure out, okay, this is how much I should be eating. These are the combinations, this many carbs, this much protein, this much fat. And this is what I do well with, because my blood sugar is showing that on the blood glucose monitor. Right? So this is how you heal it. This is how you heal your type 2 diabetes. You figure out how much you can eat at meals to stay in these ranges. So let me know if that makes sense. And if you can do this, for most of your meals, I always say, like, at least 80% of your meals, if you can do this, get your blood sugar to these ranges, you will lower your A1C. So when you go to your doctor, your A1C will get lower and lower and lower, and eventually you'll get in that normal range. You'll be in that normal range. And here's the great thing, and this is with any doctor, anywhere you go. If you can get 3 consecutive A1Cs below 5.7%, then you aren't considered diabetic anymore. So you can totally reverse the issue. If you can get 3 consecutive A1Cs below 5.7%, they will have to tell you that, hey, you're normal. You're not diabetic anymore. Your A1C is in the normal range, and it's been in the normal range for a long period of time. So you are not considered diabetic anymore. So how does this give you guys hope if you are diabetic? Like, does this excite you? Does it make you, like, hopeful? Let me know, because when I knew this, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. This gives me a goal to work towards. And so this is totally possible to do without medication if you want to. And I'm not knocking the people who want to do medication. Some people do. Some people don't feel like they can change their lifestyle that much to be able to do this. And that's okay. That's your choice. But I want you to know you have a choice. And so it's totally possible to get your A1C to a normal range without medication, and with just lifestyle changes. So this is exciting, you guys. The key is to figure out how many carbs you need to stay under for your blood sugar to stay under 130 milligrams per deciliter after you eat, right? So you've got to use your blood sugar monitor. And so that amount of food will be different for everyone, because I've seen where some people can eat up to 100 carbs a day and still stay under that 130 milligrams per deciliter range. And then I've seen to where some people have to go all the way almost to zero, like 5 or 10 carbs a day, to get under 130 milligrams per deciliter. Everyone is different, and it really just depends on a lot of different factors. It will depend on how severe your type 2 diabetes is, how long your blood sugar has been high, how insulin resistant you are. A lot of different things are going to depend on this. And it doesn't mean it'll always stay that way. If you're someone that can only handle 5 or 10 carbs at a time before your blood sugar goes too high, then, if you just keep working on that and staying under that number, eventually you're going to heal, and you may be able to go up some. You may not have to stay that low carb forever, but if you are severely diabetic, then you may have to do that for a while. So I hope this makes sense, you guys. So yeah, that's the key to the blood sugar monitor and your blood sugar numbers. You got to find out how many carbs you need to stay under, for your blood sugar to stay at under 130 milligrams per deciliter. Um, so, uh, you know, the way to figure that out is to use your blood sugar monitor, and you'll want to test your blood sugar before and after meals for at least a few weeks. You want to do this for at least a few weeks to really get a sense of how much you need. And this will take trial and error. Like I said, this is going to take some time, because you're going to have days where you're like, okay, I've been eating this for lunch every day, and why all of a sudden is my blood sugar higher today than it was the past 3 days? And, you're going to have to consider, how much stress are you under? Did you get enough sleep that night? The night before. There's a lot of things that can make your blood sugar go up and down. So you have to take that into consideration as well, and not just say, oh, well, I guess I got to go lower carb because today my blood sugar was too high. No, at the end of that 2 or 3 weeks, you look at your data and you say, okay, well, for the most part, my blood sugar stayed under as long as I had this many carbs. And so that's what you're going to look at. And that's why you need to write it down and keep a journal, and, each meal. This is your data to help you figure out where you're, how much you eat, how much you need to eat to heal your diabetes. So keep a log and and write down how many carbs you ate at each meal. And then you're going to write down what your blood sugar was before the meal and after the meal. And this is going to be your data. And, like, I help people with this. This is what I help people do. They can give me their data. This is what I always start my diabetics doing. And they give me their data, and then I can fix their, I can tell them what to do instead of them having to figure it out. So that's what I do. So once you do this for a few weeks, you should have a good idea of how many carbs you can eat without spiking your blood sugar to an unhealthy range. This is the reason that we do this. And this is most of the battle. Right? This is most of the battle. But then there's other lifestyle habits that will make a difference as well, right? You want to make sure you're getting movement on a consistent basis, because this is going to help your blood sugar, your body use the glucose in your blood so it doesn't spike. So any movement you can get is going to help your blood sugar as well. You also need to be getting 7 to 9 hours of good sleep consistently, because this helps balance hormones like insulin. So if you are not sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night consistently, then you're going to have to just expect that your blood sugar is going to be higher than someone who is sleeping well. It spikes cortisol as well, and cortisol is terrible for your blood sugar. It's natural for it to spike, but you don't want it to be, when you don't get enough sleep, then it spikes higher than it should. Does that make sense? So getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, getting good quality sleep, uninterrupted sleep, that is going to help balance your hormones. It's going to help balance insulin. It's going to help balance cortisol so it doesn't go too high. And you also need to manage stress well. This is another habit that you can use to help your blood sugar, to assist it, right? Because chronic stress can raise blood sugar. And so if you can get consistent with these 4 habits, then you will improve your A1C. You will. I guarantee it. I promise you. If you get consistent with these 4 habits, um, you will improve your A1C and most likely bring it down to a normal range and keep it there. Um, so, you know, this is how you heal it. This is literally how you heal it. It's not a secret, it's just something that is not talked about a lot. Um, and this is how I healed mine. This is how I got back to a normal range. So you can do it too. I know you can. Let me see. What is this? Hey, I need some help dealing with how to eat with thyroids. Okay, yeah, I need to do a video on that, on thyroid issues. Okay. You can also DM me and we can talk a little bit personally about what's going on with you if you want to. Just let me know. But yeah, I can do a video on that as well. Um, so, you guys, I hope this was helpful to you. And I really wanted to talk about this today because I talk to people all the time that just have no idea that they have a choice, that there's any other option besides taking medication. So, I just want you guys to be informed. There's nothing wrong with uh, either way you go, either path. I just like to inform people and let people know that they do have a choice. Because most people just think they have to take medication to manage type 2 diabetes, and you don't have to. You really don't. And so I hope it was helpful and I hope you've learned something. Let me know, leave me a comment if this was helpful. Also, leave me a comment if there's another topic you want me to talk about. This is a diabetes group, but I like to hear what you guys want to know more about because we can do habits, how to change habits, weight loss, like thyroid, like this comment says, different things because this is all health and health related. And so, if you guys have another topic that you want me to talk about, let me know. Um, so I wanted you guys to be informed of this, and if you are interested in getting personalized help to heal your diabetes, then this is what I do. I would love to help you if that's something you're interested in. I am a holistic nutritionist, and I specialize in helping people with diabetes. So that is my specialty. That's what I know most about. And so, if you are interested in having a conversation with me about that, just put interested in the comments. If you just put interested, then I will contact you and, I'll probably send you a DM and, see if you wanted to talk or just DM about it, about what's going on with you, and give you some insight on what you can do about what's going on, your specific issue. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for watching today and joining me. And I hope it was helpful, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. All right, bye.